Imagine a world where life-saving drugs are designed on a computer screen, optimized by artificial intelligence in the click of a button, and delivered to patients at record speed. Now ask yourself, is this science fiction, or is it happening right now, underneath the radar? Today, one of the most secretive but impactful revolutions in global technology and business is taking place at the intersection of biotech and generative AI. The stakes, trillions of dollars, the fate of entire industries, and quite literally, the future of human health. And most people have never even heard about it. In the next few minutes, we'll reveal how generative AI is not just transforming digital art or automating your emails, but is poised to rewrite the very code of life itself. We'll dig into how companies like Cradle, a startup you've probably never heard of, are outpacing pharmaceutical giants with supercharged R&D, how generative AI is turning drug discovery from a billion-dollar gamble into a programmable science, and why regulatory agencies from the FDA to the World Health Organization are scrambling to keep up. But here's the twist. With great power comes great risk. What does it mean when we let algorithms design the molecules that become our medicine? Who's making sure the code isn't flawed, or even worse, biased? The answers are far from simple, and the story is far from over. Let's dive in. To grasp the sheer scale of this transformation, let's start with a crash course in how the biotech industry works and why it's so ripe for disruption. For decades, developing a new drug has been one of humanity's most complex and expensive bets. Typically, pharmaceutical companies spend an average of 10 to 15 years and over $2 billion to bring a single new medicine to market. For every successful pill, there are thousands of failed candidates, each one representing sunk costs, dashed hopes, and, too often, lives lost that could have been saved if innovation happened faster. Traditional drug discovery is painstakingly slow. Scientists identify a target, usually a protein in the body related to a disease. Then they try to design or find a molecule that interacts with that protein in just the right way. It's like searching for a needle in a molecular haystack, with endless rounds of trial and error in test tubes and computer simulations. Historically, the process has looked something like this. A researcher hypothesizes about a promising compound, runs lab experiments, analyzes the results, and tries again, over and over. Even with decades of computational tools, most of the work remained slow and manual. Sometimes the only way forward was brute force, testing hundreds of thousands of compounds, hoping a lucky one sticks. Now enter generative AI. At first, most people associated Gen AI with chatbots or image generators. But a new breed of software is bringing generative power directly to biotech. Instead of creating funny cat images, it generates entirely new protein structures, fast. It can model how an experimental drug might interact with a virus, bacteria, or even your own immune system, and suggest promising candidates in a matter of days. Cradle is one of these tech bio pioneers. Based out of the Netherlands and Switzerland and founded in 2021, Cradle has launched a web-based software platform that brings AI right into the heart of biotech research labs. Their pitch is radical: double the speed of protein design and optimization, slashing project timelines and costs, and making trial and error almost obsolete. Elise de Roos, co-founder of Cradle, puts it bluntly: generative AI is putting the tech into biotech, accelerating experimentation, and getting therapies to patients faster. The company's software integrates AI-driven models with wet lab experimentation, iterating on protein designs in real time. The result? What used to take years can now be done in months, or even weeks. But it's not just startups playing this game. A McKinsey report on life sciences notes that biopharma companies can unlock substantial financial value in R&D by scaling up their AI capabilities. In other words, even the giants are aware that not harnessing AI means falling behind, fast. Let's put this in perspective. In the old world, the leap from a promising molecule to a workable medicine was like sending a message in a bottle and hoping the tides carried it your way. Now with AI, it's more like using GPS. You can plot the best route, avoid dead ends, and reroute instantly if something isn't working. It doesn't stop at drug discovery. Generative AI is being applied to synthetic biology, creating entirely new biological systems. Think foods made without animals, sustainable materials that don't require oil, or industrial enzymes that are more efficient and cleaner than anything nature ever evolved. The same technology that helps model proteins for cancer drugs can be tweaked to design enzymes for greener detergents, or to create next-generation vaccines against future pandemics before they even reach our shores. David Baker, a leading researcher from the University of Washington, summarizes the impact. AI is enabling us to design proteins that are as sophisticated as naturally occurring proteins, tackling previously impossible problems. Imagine designing a protein that precisely targets a cancer cell and nothing else, or optimizing proteins for industrial use, slashing waste and pollution. Suddenly, biology becomes a programmable domain. Of course, beyond the technical leap, there's the business revolution. In the fierce world of biotech startups and pharma giants, whoever can invent and optimize faster wins. Time to market is everything. Shaving a year or two off drug development can mean billions in revenue, and more importantly, getting life-saving therapies to patients before it's too late. This competition is intense, and AI is the new arms race. But can the technology deliver on its promises? Can generative AI really democratize drug development, or will it concentrate power in the hands of a few software-savvy players? Sarfaraz K. Niazi, a regulatory science expert, told Therapeutic Advances in Drug Safety, AI-driven drug discovery has substantially reduced development times and costs, expediting the process and financial risks of bringing new medicines to market. But he also notes that the more dependent we become on complex algorithms, the more we need to scrutinize them. Let's look closer at Cradle's platform. Sometimes described as Photoshop for proteins, it offers scientists a friendly, web-based interface where they can sketch ideas, get AI-powered suggestions, and seamlessly integrate with robotic experimentation. It's not just theory. Some of the world's largest pharma R&D labs are quietly plugging into Cradle's system, and their results are hard to ignore. One flagship case involved designing animal-free proteins for the food industry, cutting the cost and environmental footprint of meat alternatives. In medicine, Cradle's partners are racing to develop therapies for rare diseases where patient numbers are small and traditional R&D uneconomical. AI-driven design isn't just faster, it unlocks markets that used to be unprofitable or unreachable. But this gold rush comes with massive technical and ethical challenges. Can we trust an opaque algorithm to design molecules that go into our bodies? First, let's talk about validation. In traditional drug development, rigorous testing and regulatory oversight are the bedrock of safety. The US FDA and other bodies require years of data to prove not just that a drug works, but that it's safe for everyone. With AI, the challenge is even greater. Much of the design happens inside a black box. Trust, but verify, as the old saying goes. But when the AI can't explain its own reasoning, how do you verify? In response, regulators are scrambling to keep pace. The FDA recently published a draft guidance on AI in drug regulation, proposing a risk-based credibility assessment framework. In other words, before a product designed by AI can reach patients, it must pass new kinds of scrutiny. But the rules are still evolving, and many in the industry feel caught between innovation and regulation, a race against time. There's also the critical issue of bias. The World Health Organization warns that ethical frameworks need to be developed to minimize the risk of bias in AI and ensure universal healthcare. Algorithms are only as good as the data they're trained on. If that data is skewed, patients from underrepresented groups could be left behind, or worse, put at risk. This isn't a theoretical worry. History is full of medicines that worked for some, but not for all. And then there are the business risks. Startups like Cradle are agile and innovative, but they face fierce competition, from pharma titans with billion-dollar budgets to rival tech bio companies with their own secret sauce. Intellectual property battles are heating up, as everyone races to patent not just new molecules, but the AI models and data pipelines behind them. At the same time, cyber threats are looming larger than ever. As AI platforms become the brains behind multi-billion-dollar industries, a single hack or data leak could spell disaster. Imagine if proprietary protein designs were stolen, or if algorithms were corrupted to sabotage medical research. The pressure is intense. Rominder Singh of Northeastern University cautions, drug regulatory agencies must adapt to the AI revolution by developing agile and adaptive frameworks that accommodate rapidly evolving technologies. The pace of innovation is outstripping the ability of regulators, ethics boards, and even major corporations to keep up. Yet for every risk, there are enormous opportunities. AI-driven platforms could unlock the promise of personalized medicine, tailoring drugs to individual genetic profiles. They could help predict and prevent future disease outbreaks by analyzing patterns long before a human would spot them. The same tools that help discover a rare disease therapy could also be deployed against public health threats, potentially saving millions of lives. But the central question lingers. As generative AI takes over the engines of biotech, who ensures that this revolution benefits everyone, not just those with the deepest pockets or the fastest algorithms? Will the gap between tech haves and have-nots widen, or can technology truly democratize access to medicine? The biggest names in pharma are already betting billions that the latter is possible. Still, the regulatory, ethical, and technical hurdles are only growing taller. As the AI biotech juggernaut accelerates, we're left with a profound dilemma. Can we move fast without breaking things, when those things are people's lives? In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the real-world battles unfolding inside labs and boardrooms, explore the visionary and sometimes unsettling scenarios that lie ahead, and tackle the ultimate question: who wins, who loses, and what does the future of biotech look like when AI holds the keys? As we step further into this new era, the transformation unfolding at the intersection of biotech and generative AI feels almost cinematic, a futuristic saga, written not in the pages of science fiction, but in today's laboratories and code bases. The velocity of change is dizzying. Just a few years ago, the idea of designing proteins on a computer, almost like using Photoshop, as Cradle's team likes to describe it, would have sounded like magic. Now, it's a working reality shaping everything from life-saving drugs to animal-free food and sustainable materials. But with every leap forward, new questions arise. What does this mean for humanity, for the industries built around human health, and for societies striving for health equity, especially now that the rules are being rewritten at digital speed? Let's project ourselves 5, 10, even 20 years into the future. Some experts, like David Baker at the University of Washington, believe we're on the verge of a revolution in personalized medicine. Imagine a world where your unique genome is used to design bespoke treatments, where AI models predict disease risk, recommend lifestyle changes, and literally write the proteins that your body needs to thrive. Medicines could be tailored not just for broad patient groups, but for you, individually. Vaccines against pandemics could be designed and manufactured in weeks, not years. But as with any revolution, the opportunities come bundled with risks. There's the very real danger of algorithmic bias, where data sets that underrepresent certain populations lead to new drugs that are less effective or even unsafe for some. The World Health Organization has already warned, without careful oversight, AI could do more harm than good, deepening healthcare inequalities that already scar the globe. Then there's the specter of security. AI systems that design proteins could, in the wrong hands, be used to create dangerous pathogens or toxins. It's not just science fiction, it's a legitimate concern voiced by many in the global health community. The arms race for AI and biotech will require not just technical safeguards, but international cooperation, transparency, and ethical clarity. On the business side, first movers who master AI-driven R&D could fundamentally reshape the pharmaceutical landscape. According to a recent McKinsey report, biopharma companies who scale their AI capabilities stand to unlock billions in value, not just from faster drug discovery, but from lower costs, smarter clinical trials, and the creation of entirely new markets. Legacy firms that can't adapt risk being left behind, surpassed by nimble tech bio startups who treat biology more like an engineering challenge than a traditional science. But perhaps the most profound consequence may lie in how we view biology itself. For centuries, biology was a field of observation and description. Now it's becoming a domain of design. Synthetic biology, increasingly powered by generative AI, lets us write new biological functions from scratch. Imagine bacteria engineered to clean up pollution, crops designed to withstand drought, even new forms of sustainable plastic made entirely from AI-designed enzymes. Of course, the future isn't written yet. There are formidable roadblocks: regulatory adaptation, the need for rigorous validation of AI models, the challenge of integrating messy, real-world lab data with digital predictions. The FDA, in response, issued draft guidance in early 2025 calling for a risk-based credibility assessment framework for all AI-influenced drug approvals. Rominder Singh of Northeastern University captured the moment. Drug regulatory agencies must adapt to the AI revolution by developing agile and adaptive frameworks that accommodate rapidly evolving technologies. But frameworks are just the start. True safety and success will hinge on a collaborative approach that spans industry, regulators, ethicists, and, crucially, patients themselves. Ethical guardrails, especially on issues like data privacy, transparency, and bias testing, must become as integral as code and pipettes. Yet, for all the big picture drama, what does all this mean for you? Whether you're a student, a health professional, an investor, or just someone fascinated by science, here's the practical reality. The AI biotech revolution isn't something happening only in big pharma boardrooms or startup labs. It's going to touch all of our lives. First, if you're in a health or STEM field, the message is clear: upskill. Familiarize yourself with AI tools, bioinformatics, and the basics of machine learning. The laboratories and clinics of tomorrow will demand professionals who can bridge both biology and computation. Free courses, open source tools, and even AI-driven software for protein design, like Cradles, are rapidly becoming accessible. For patients and everyday citizens, prepare for dramatic changes in how healthcare is delivered. AI-driven diagnostics may soon outpace the best human specialists in speed and accuracy. The first AI-designed drugs are already in clinical trials, and gene therapies tailored by generative models could soon arrive for rare, previously untreatable diseases. It's possible that the most important therapy you receive in your lifetime will be designed, validated, and prescribed in ways unimaginable today. Stay informed, ask questions, and demand transparency from your healthcare providers. If you're an investor, the signal is impossible to ignore. The fusion of AI and biotechnology will create new winners and losers, much like the dawn of the internet era. But wise investors will look beyond the hype, seeking companies that balance visionary technology with a clear-eyed understanding of regulation, data security, and scientific rigor. And if you're simply concerned about the societal impacts, your role is crucial too. Public pressure and civic engagement helped shape the ethical frameworks for technologies like CRISPR and IVF. AI and biotech will need the same scrutiny. Push for transparency, equitable access, and robust safeguards. The more people involved in the conversation, the better the outcomes for everyone. Above all, remember, the risks of generative AI and biotech are real, but so is its promise. As Sarfaraz K. Niazi notes, AI-driven drug discovery has substantially reduced development times and costs, expediting the process and financial risks of bringing new medicines to market. That means, in the best-case scenario, we stand to see treatments that are not just faster to develop, but more affordable and globally accessible. Still, access and equity must remain watchwords. The history of medicine is littered with breakthroughs that reached only a privileged few. The dream of AI-powered biotech is to flip this script, to democratize innovation, making world-class care available from London to Lagos, Zurich to rural Indonesia. As we wrap up, let's return to the question we started with: who will benefit and how will society handle the risks and rewards? The truth is, the answer isn't set in stone. Generative AI will amplify what we put into it: our scientific ambition, yes, but also our ethical choices, our willingness to question bias, and our collective demand for safety and fairness. The beneficiaries can and should be all of us, if we take an active role in shaping the rules of this new era. Here's a secret fact. Some of the world's leading pharma companies, the giants you've known for decades, are already quietly rolling out AI-designed clinical candidates. In the next few years, you may see the first AI-generated protein drugs approved for human use. The revolution isn't looming, it's here, but its direction depends on us. So, what can you do now? Stay curious. Engage with the science. Don't be afraid to ask how your medicines are made or to advocate for responsible AI in healthcare. Whether it's through studying, investing, policy, or simply spreading awareness, each of us has a part to play. If you found this deep dive into the future of AI and biotech illuminating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about the age of designer proteins?